Hello again, friends, and welcome to Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips joined by Gamecock great Joe Rhett. Joe, as we record on this Wednesday night, only two teams in the SEC are 2-0 in league play. One of them is the third-ranked Tennessee Volunteers, and the other the South Carolina Gamecocks. After Carolina beat Mississippi State, ranked 14th in the country, by 5 in overtime at the Colonial Life Arena last night, a game that featured 9 ties and 12 lead changes. Joe, the Gamecocks carried the momentum from the road win at Florida to open conference play into a big home win over a top 15 team last night.
Yeah, you could tell, man. I'm so excited. I was glad I was a part of that game last night. You could tell from the Florida game that the confidence is so important in the game of basketball. And to go in there to Florida last week and win that game and come back, you saw that this team still has the confidence and to come back home and play against this ranked Mississippi State team and come out there from the beginning to the end. You know, this team is evolving. If you go back 6 weeks or whatever when the season started, this team was really struggling. They were really struggling. They had some issues so far early in the year, and as the past 2 weeks, it's not a fluke. This team is playing much better. They have confidence. They're trusting the defense. They're playing with much more energy. And for this team to be young, they are really growing up really fast. And this team is really evolving into a team that can compete in this SEC.
Gamecocks beat Mississippi State, 14th ranked in the country, 87-82 in overtime on Tuesday night. Mississippi State now 12-2 overall, 0-1 in the league. They're going to host Ole Miss coming up on Saturday. Gamecocks improved to 7-7, and they're one of just two teams in the conference at 2-0 in league play. South Carolina was the only team in the SEC to have a losing record during the non-conference portion of the schedule, and now here the Gamecocks are tied for first in the league with Tennessee at 2-0. So Carolina out-rebounded Mississippi State in this game, Joe. In fact, Carolina had 16 offensive rebounds to just 9 for Mississippi State. Mike Kotsar with a career-high 25 points on 10 of 18 shooting. He also had 9 rebounds. 5 of those were offensive. And it was Kotsar that made a couple of huge plays in OT. Joe, he had a putback after an offensive rebound for a bucket inside, and he hit a baseline jumper. 2 big buckets for Carolina in the OT that helped them to this win. So Mike Kotsar was the big player Tuesday night for the Gamecocks.
He was the key guy last night, Emerson. He stepped up in a big way. We saw that we knew that he had the talent. He has the talent. He has the footwork. He has a lot of skill set, but I don't know if he doesn't trust himself or he just don't have the confidence. But hopefully after that performance last night, that he can sustain that and continue that. He rebounded the ball well. A lot of big guys sometimes only rebound in their spot. Several times last night, I saw that he rebounded out of his spot. It didn't just come to him. He went and got several rebounds last night. And I was encouraging to I'm quite sure, to the coaching staff and to the fans. If he can continue to play that well and just be aggressive, I think Frank Martin spoke on that, how aggressive he played. And because he has a skill set. He has a skill set where he can catch the ball at the top of the key and make plays, not only just scoring and driving to the basket, but he can also kick it out for threes or kick it down to Silver and make plays. And he has that skill set to wreak havoc inside. So hopefully he can continue to do that, and he can continue to make damage in this SEC.
Kotsar, 6'10", and a junior forward out of Estonia. Went to high school in Wichita, Kansas, and he's now in his third year with the Gamecocks. Big part of the Gamecocks' Final Four run as a freshman 2 years ago. He was a starter on that ball club and just kind of disappeared last year, Joe, but his confidence back now.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Martin after the game talking about Mike Kotsar. Let's listen to Coach Martin talking about what Mike brings to the team and what has led to this big game Tuesday night against 14th-ranked Mississippi State.
Really proud of Kotsar. I've been fighting him in a good way, to believe in himself. And so I'm really happy that he played with that aggression and that confidence, some guys score 25, but they score a lot like middle section of the game, and then they disappear. That dude made a big-time step-down jump shot from the baseline, big-time offensive rebound tip-in, made his free throws. I mean, all that with the game in the balance. That's credit him. We need him to keep growing. Absolutely need him to keep growing.
You've mentioned you've been fighting him, but what do you think has been the problem? Just a confidence thing?
Yeah, that's just he's not an aggressive personality. He's passive, and he's happy being, like his freshman year. He was just the fifth guy, but he's got so much more ability mentally, physically than that, and getting him to just believe in himself. That's been the biggest challenge. Like early in the game, he missed some shots, and I didn't say a word to him because he kept shooting. In the past, when he misses a shot or two, he stops. And then he passes up good shot. This is the thing about basketball. It's really hard to get a good shot. When you got a good shot, you have to shoot it. And he'd pass up good shots, and then now the defense resets, and it's hard again. And but it's I'm really happy for him. He deserved to have a game like this not against a bad team, against a really good team. I'm just happy he stayed aggressive. That's what I've been begging him to do. I'm literally like yelling at him, hugging him, showing him film, begging him. Like Mike can be a guy that can make a lot of money playing basketball. He's 260 pounds, moves his feet, can run, goes in the weight room. He is strong as an ox. He's not a lights out shooter, but this year he's worked at becoming a good shooter. I just want him to be aggressive, man. You're too big and strong, too talented. You're too mobile to be passive. And I hope that this gives him confidence, because now it becomes like when teams really, really want to focus in on Chris, like obviously Mississippi State was, it gets real hard to have to deal with both of them dudes in there. And hopefully it's something that he can continue.
So, Joe, there's Frank Martin talking about Mike Kotsar, a guy that can be a real force for the Gamecocks. The confidence appears to be coming back. We don't know why it went away.
No, we don't know why it went away. This college game is tough. And his first 2 years, we saw glimpses of him having some sparks where he can contribute to the team. On that Final Four run, he made some big shots that night. The last year, somewhat, he kind of got lost in the shuffle. So, as you hear Frank said it, he's not aggressive. He's been preaching and forcing him to try to be aggressive because Frank sees these guys every day in practice, and he knows that he has the skill set to do and to help this ball club. So if he can continue to do this and help out, it would help Silver out tremendously. If they can play a two-man game and he can be aggressive where they don't double Silver, it will help Silver, and they can help each other. Like a sewing machine, they could work together and help each other improve. And that will also, if those two get going, the perimeter game gets going. So Frank creates so many opportunities for Coach Silver and also the guards. And if they can all get in sequence, this team can be very dangerous.
Yeah, Kotsar, one of the keys for the Gamecocks, you got to believe this year, and if he continues to play like he did against Mississippi State, the Gamecocks could be tough to beat heading into what will be a very difficult part of the schedule. 5 of the next 7 on the road for the Gamecocks. More on that in just a moment. Kotsar was 5 of 5 at the foul line, 25 and 9, the 25 points a career high, and the Gamecocks shot 76% at the line. The foul line was key in this game. Carolina 13 of 17. Mississippi State missed 10 shots at the foul line. They were 13 of 23 for 57%. So Kotsar was interviewed by the SEC Network after the game. He said that games against Michigan, Virginia, and Clemson prepared Carolina for conference play, Joe. So there was a lot of talk about the Gamecock non-conference schedule. Carolina got beaten by some good teams, top 5 teams in Michigan and Virginia, and a good Clemson team as well that's been ranked much of the year. So I think fans were down on this Gamecock team with that losing record in non-conference play. But, man, all that's turned around now with the Gamecocks 2-0 in the SEC.
Yeah, you heard the rumblings, especially the preseason game against Augusta College or whoever they lost to. And it started then. And Frank knows what he was doing. Scheduling a tough schedule like that with Michigan on the road, Virginia. And for this young team, it helps them propel them to grow up a lot faster. I mean, were we expected to win those games? Absolutely not. But, you learn a lot. You learn your team. He's trying to figure out his team. He's seeing who he can trust during those times. And that helped the team grow up really, really fast. So now that we're getting in the second part of the season, Frank realized, the team realized, hey, we can compete. We played well against Clemson. We played well against Michigan. And now that we're in conference, we had that little break, our Christmas break, so now they have the opportunity to go out there and trust each other, and they're more comfortable with each other because this team is still young. Our backcourt is very young. So now that they trust each other, and we also forget Justin Minaya is out. So there's so many different keys why this team struggled in the beginning, but it seems like now they're gelling somewhat together.
Yeah, with Minaya out, the Gamecocks only played 8 players against Mississippi State. 17 points for Hassani Gravett, 11 points and 10 boards for Chris Silva. Grad transfer Trey Campbell chipped in 10 points and a team-high 3 steals. And the Gamecock bench outscored Mississippi State 28-2 in this game. So Mississippi State had 5 players in double figures, but only 2 points from their bench. So, Joe, the Gamecocks are going with this 7-player rotation, basically. They played 8 Tuesday night, but the starting 5, Trey Campbell and A.J. Lawson in the backcourt. In the front court, Keyshawn Bryant, the freshman, Mike Kotsar, and Chris Silva, along with Hassani Gravett, 17 off the bench, and 11 points and 6 rebounds from Felipe Hasse in 24 minutes. Those 7 are the primary players right now. Evan Henson only played 4 minutes and got 1 shot. So it's a 7-player rotation right now with Minaya looking, hopefully, to return at some point this year.
Yeah, that's the key point. I think there's 2 keys that won the game last night. One was rebounding and also bench scoring. They only got 2 points off the bench. Mississippi State only got 2 points off the bench. So that was huge. And I give Hassani Gravett, who's a senior, who has embraced his role coming off the bench and contributing. He is playing really aggressive. Along with Kosar, Hassani Gravett came in and played some key minutes. He played great on defense. He made some timely baskets towards the end, and he's been really aggressive. So his play has also helped elevate this team and help those other guys get in. A lot of teams don't want to accept that role coming off the bench, so give a lot of credit to Hassani Gravett for accepting that role and being, that player to come out the bench to give us that spark whenever things are not going well. And he coming in being aggressive can, that tremendously helps our team right now.
So back in November, the Gamecocks lost an exhibition game to Division II Augusta University. Coach Martin at that time not real pleased with the ball club in practice, and he kind of took a hands-off approach in that exhibition game. Joe, if you remember, Coach Martin just kind of hung on the sideline, didn't say a lot, didn't do a lot of coaching that night. I think his attitude was, and he said as much after the game, is that, the players were wanting to do things their own way. So he went into that exhibition game against Augusta University and said, hey, you want to do it your way? Go ahead, do it your way. Gamecocks got beat that night. Gamecock Nation was in an uproar, and now a couple of months later, Carolina's 2-0 in the league with a road win at Florida and a home win in overtime over 14th-ranked Mississippi State. So we're going to hear from Frank Martin right again here, Joe, talking about trust. How do you go from losing to Augusta University to starting 2-0 in the SEC? And here's what Coach Martin had to say.
Everything, like I told the team after the game, I'm not going to tell you what the scouting report was, but, we had guys that didn't trust in our scouting report on some things. And we spent the whole game trying to get them stop doing it your own way. Do what the scouting report tells you to do. And that little thing right there, that's called trust. It's something that we're a lot better at. A month ago, 6 weeks ago, all our guys, no one trusted. We just played. We didn't trust. Without trust, you can't play for each other. And we're starting to figure that out. We're starting to understand that don't get wrapped up in the emotion of a good play, bad play. Don't get wrapped up on winning. Like, let's say A.J. Lawson, okay? He didn't play real well today. All right? He wasn't very aggressive. He was kind of in between everything, offensively and defensively. I called the play for him with the game on the line. That kid came off that screen and stuck that jump shot. I mean, that's he trusted. And when I called the play, I did it on purpose. I did it at Florida to get Keyshawn going. I did it today because we needed him to get going. So that gave him a little feel-good to himself. He was lights out defensively after not playing well defensively, lights out in overtime. In that last possession, that's a true, like a high school senior against Quindarius Witherspoon, who's a 4-year stud in this league. AJ's discipline defensively, his activity, created that bad possession for them at the end. That's trust. That's the word that I keep using with our guys. We got to keep growing there.
Trust, Joe, big issue for the Gamecocks, and it looks like Carolina's starting to gain it, not just coaches for players, but players for coaches. And players for teammates, and things are starting to come together, it looks like, for the Gamecocks.
With transfers coming in, Trey Campbell coming in, the Georgetown transfer, then you got the two young guys, Bryant as well. So it takes a while, especially for the guards to adjust. We knew what Mike Coatsar, they've been in the program, Chris Silver been in the program. So our three guys in the backcourt right now, they're new and it's fresh for them. So they had a lot of adjustments, and Frank knew what he was doing at Augusta University game by letting them do that. You know, they felt that they put all this time in, all the summer workouts in, and preseason workouts, and they want to go do their own thing. So that was a teaching moment for them. And now you see that they realize their way is not working. So as you said, we hear about Frank talking about the scouting report, and the guys are not listening to it. And they started in the second half, and you have all those coaches. That's part of their job. All the assistant coaches, each one of them, I think, each game that's their role to be to give the scouting report for each game. I don't know who scouter was last night, but there were times last night where you saw that Frank was getting frustrated. Where they wouldn't say they knew the plays, but they knew what position on both ends of the ball where they needed to be, and guys was tending to do their own thing, and that's what you get sometimes when you got freshmen. They just try to rely on their athletic ability so much because that's what they was used to, but this is another level. So these guys, like I said, these coaches are putting a lot of time in and coming up, watching a lot of film, trying to figure out ways to counter their first, second, and third moves, and we're not doing that, but they adjusted in the second half, and those guys took away a lot of that. I saw A.J. Lawson struggle a little bit in the first half, and Frank talked about calling his play, calling him guys shot. He didn't shoot that well last night, but at a crucial time in the game last night, he called his number. And that just shows how much Frank trusts his guys. You know, trust goes both ways. And hopefully that would give A.J. Lawson that confidence to try to sustain, to be able to play continuously every single game and just trust what these coaches are giving him.
Yeah, very interesting that Martin drew up that play for A.J. Lawson, who shot 3 for 11 in the Mississippi State game, and Lawson drilled a jumper off a screen just like they drew it up in the huddle. So I think some good insight into the mind of Frank Martin. And, you know, we know by now, Joe, that Frank Martin can coach. We know he knows what the hell he's doing. He took the Gamecocks to the Final Four 2 years ago, and you know, the loss to Augusta University in that exhibition game and the home loss to Stony Brook and getting beat by 20 at home to Wofford, all part of the teaching process for Frank Martin. Gamecock's starting to put it together now, and Carolina's got Missouri coming up at home on Saturday. Joe, a chance to stay undefeated in the SEC, 1 o'clock start on the SEC Network. It'll be Richard Cross and Debbie Antonelli on the call for the SEC Network. Missouri's 9-4. They're 0-1 in league play. They got trucked by number 3 ranked Tennessee at home. That was a home game for Missouri. Missouri had won 6 straight home games to close the month of December, but then they were blown out by Tennessee to open conference play 87-63. So Missouri's got one notable win this year over Xavier, losses to Iowa State, Kansas State, Temple, and Tennessee, Joe. So, you know, chance for the Gamecocks to hold serve at home here, entering what will be a very difficult stretch, 5 of the next 7 after the Missouri game on the road. 3 of those will be against ranked opponents, and Carolina will play at Vanderbilt and at LSU next week. So important for Carolina to get to 3-0 here, Joe, against Missouri.
It's very important, and Saturday is a winnable game. Missouri is not as tough as they've been. They're a team that's similar to us, have some good times and some bad years, and this is a year that I think that we should be able to handle, especially playing at home. And the key is for us to come out with that same energy and the same fight that we came out with the last 2 games. And don't just settle for, hey, we won 2 games already in SEC, 1-1 on the road, 1-1 at home. I would like to see them come out and continue to play with the same energy and same effort that they have been playing with so far.
All right, 1 o'clock Saturday for the Gamecocks and the Missouri Tigers. Joe and I will come back to talk about it next week here on Gamecock Central Radio. For my man Joe Rhett, Gamecock Great, I'm Emerson Phillips, and this is Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks for being with us.